This is Doug with DT Excavation, Daily Excavation. Today we're going to be fixing a broken water hydrant. It's malfunctioning and I believe it's leaking underground. So we're going to go and dig it up and see what we can find. Let's get started. Okay guys, we have found the water line and I believe I found the leak. See the black water line there, and it goes up into the bottom of the hydrant and there's water running out of it. So that tells me that we have a leak more or less at the hydrant on the fitting there. So I'm going to hand dig some more and see if I can locate it and show you more here in a minute. Okay, we're digging into the hydrant now, and I'm trying to find the base of it so I can see times leaks can fool you. So you always want to put your eyeballs on the leak so you 100% sure that's where it's leaking at. Okay, we're getting more water. I see it seeping out. So that's telling me we've got a leak. I see water moving down in there, so pretty good indication that hydrant is bad. See the water moving there? That hydrant is broke, or the pipe's broke. So we have our problem. All right, now I need to go and shut the water main off, and then we can proceed from there. Okay, as you can see, I just went up to shut the water meter off at the road, and that leak is pretty serious because that hole was dry just a minute ago when we was digging it out. Now you can see it's not far from being clear full. So that's a serious leak. So we found the problem. Okay, we'll throw the pump in here and we'll start getting it pumped down. Okay, well, we have our sump pump set up and we're pumping the ditch out. So I've got a smaller pump in there. I've got a couple larger ones, and we're running the water over here, and it's pumping out downhill here, so it'll run away from us, not run back in the hole. So you always want to make sure you have a water pump with you when you do water line repair, because more than likely you're going to need to pump the hole out to get down to your problem. So we'll let this pump for a little bit and get the hole dried, and we'll go from there. Okay, the water level is going down and the pump is exposed now, so we've got probably, I'd say, another 8-10 inches of water in here. So we'll go ahead and pump the rest of this out and get it down to where the line's exposed, and then we can go and finish digging out the line, and that way we can go and cut the line and pull the old hydrant out and see what we need to go get. Well, I think we found the problem. It looks like right in here, it looks like that they didn't properly go and use the right fitting on the bottom of this hydrant for the connection to the water line, because I can see it separated. You can kind of see it there, that it started to separate. So that's where the leak was at. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to cut the water line. And what you use to cut the water line is a pair of these are Waterline cutters, and they're just actually a commercial grade scissor, but they're made for plumbing. So what you do is you just go and you go down here, you place it underneath of the water line, cut it. There we go. There we go. That way the water line is separated. Okay, the water line is cut. So I'm going to go and get another hydrant, another elbow fitting, and that way we can go and reassemble this, and that way they'll be back in operation. We got the hydrant. It's out of the ditch, and I've got it up on the bank, and I see exactly what the problem is. Okay, you see this right here is a plastic fitting. You don't ever use plastic in a situation like this. You want to use brass. So a plastic fitting will always fail, and over time, from the vibration of the water line, a water line, every time you turn the water on and off in a house, will vibrate back and forth. So what it does is it will split it. Now this one here was just not installed properly. This has some sort of, looks like tape on it, which is a Teflon tape, and the Teflon tape is what you use in this part here, but you want to use a brass fitting right here. The brass is what you want to use, a brass 90, and then you put the Teflon tape on the brass threads and you screw it in there, and then that makes a good seal. And you also want to use pipe dope. So you put the Teflon tape on first, then put some pipe dope around it, and then you'll have an excellent seal. But on these fittings here, this is a barb fitting, and this is meant to be shoved on the water line, and when you force it in there, the barbs make the seal. You never put caution tape on these, and that's the reason that that this blew off, because the tape made the ribs slick, and then the pipe blew off. So that's what the problem was. This is our problem right here. So just remember, always use brass fittings when you do anything like this. All right, I'm going to go get another water line. I'll show you how to put it together. Okay, we have purchased a new water hydrant. So it's new and in good shape. So what we have to do is you go and take this brass 90-degree elbow. Now remember, on the one that was on the one that was broke was plastic, and you always want to use brass. So this is the threads, and we got the Teflon tape on it, and it will go up inside of the water hydrant. And what I always do is I always go and apply a coat of pipe dope on top of the Teflon tape, and it just makes a good heavy double seal, and it won't leak. So you want to use some good pipe dope, Teflon tape, and then you just go and screw it into here, and you should be in good shape. Okay, we're ready to go and install our 90-degree brass fitting into the bottom of the water line. We got the caution tape or the Teflon tape on it, and you want to make sure that you wrap the Teflon tape in the direction so when you're tightening it, it will pull the tape on and not peel it off. So you go and you take some pipe dope, and you just coat it very liberally. You want to make sure it's good and thick. You want to make sure you get that covered good. And you just insert it into the end of the hydrant, and whenever you're tightening something, you go clockwise. So you're going clockwise, with your fitting, and you just go and turn it in by hand as far as you can get it. Then just get whatever wrench that you have, and then just go ahead and spin it on in to where it's good and tight. And it's always, I like to use a tailgate on a pickup truck because it makes it makes a nice, good, stable workbench. So you want to make sure that you get it in there all the way. So there you go. And you can position this whichever way that you need to, whatever way that you want to have your water line head pointed. You can, once you get so far, you can put it in any which way that you need to have it. So we're done with this step, and the next step will be to go and install it onto the old water line. Okay, we got the new hydrant installed. And what we done is we went and hooked into the existing water line with the brass 90 barb fitting, put 2 hose clamps on it right here, and you want to put them opposing each other, one opposite from the other, and you tighten it down snugly, and that makes a good fit. Now sometimes when you go to assemble the water line, it's really stiff to get in, and sometimes you may have to use a torch to just lightly heat the pipe. You don't want to burn it in two, but lightly heat it, and that way you can slide the pipe up onto the barb fitting a whole lot easier. Just don't burn it in two. So this is ready to be backfilled. Right here is a weep hole that's on the side of every frost-free hydrant. So you want to go and put gravel around this. So that way, about up to here, and that way whenever you turn this on, the water comes out the spout, and when you shut it off, the water will drain back down and will leak out that hole, and that's what keeps it from freezing in the wintertime. So we want to put a little gravel around that. So other than that, we're getting ready to finish it up. Okay, water line's completely installed. We've got our stone down around the weep hole, and you can use any kind of like a stone that's, as long as it's a wash stone, anything dime, nickel size. I like to use the natural 57s because they're round and it won't hurt the pipe. But I've got that covered up, and then for an extra bit of protection, I always go and drive a metal T-post down the ground beside of it, and I go and anchor it with a couple hose clamps like you'd find on a radiator hose. Just strap around that, and then that way that gives it extra support, and it may save you some grief down the road, especially if you use the hydrant a lot. You have to give the hydrant extra support, and that way it won't maybe break the line on the bottom eventually by tugging on it and hanging buckets on it and things. So that helps out.